it's fun for me to drive at Gateway, but when you're trying to go out there and pound around in a new situation, for me, I was like, I think there's still a bit left on the table, but we're in the top 5. And, we ended up obviously in the top 8 in practice, 8th quickest. And that felt fantastic, honestly. I loved showing up and without any time in a car that I had not, been a part of this team before, we were fast. And I think that for sure says something. I saw after the first practice that Linus Lundqvist did, it looked like he was getting signed to Ganassi. You know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of reactions to practices now. And again, I do not obviously deserve that. Not even close. But when you get in and you just get down to business, that's what it's all about. Linus Lundqvist has done a good job doing that, clearly. It was fun to get in. Now, having to do that, though, when it's night, which, again, I even had a dark visor on. I couldn't see anything really at night towards the end of that practice session. Probably not the greatest idea for me to just leave the dark visor on. But I couldn't see much in the highline practice. But I could tell that this year's track, for some reason, I would say it felt a little bit different. I would say the red tires were interesting. Not a huge difference, but something that was like, this is going to add to strategy. And we get to hear from David Malukas about how his strategy, played out as well during that race. It's going into qualifying with one practice session. I actually felt pretty good, but we knew we were going to have to go out early. We knew that the track was going to improve because, again, right before our qualifying, it had rained again overnight. There was another race where there was a bunch of different rubber on the track, some USAC racing that had coated the track in a different style of rubber. And there was also a blown engine that blew up all down the front straight as well, which is kind of funny. But going into qualifying, I was pumped. I couldn't wait. And, when I got out there, the changes that we made to the car overnight, I think were the right changes. Really appreciate my crew doing what they did. And we go out there and we go top of the board right at the gate. But obviously that was only, after 5 cars had run. And I thought to myself, I was like, man, the track was good enough. The temperature was good enough. I think, me personally, you also have to respect a little bit of the limits of, like, hey, I don't know what this car is going to do when I push it even more. The experience helps you that. Obviously, as drivers, we are meant to go beyond the limits. I went much faster than I did the day before. We got into the 24s, 24.9, but I was like, I should have done a 24.8. Like, I think our car maybe had a 24.778 or 24.80 in it. If I would have got just a hair more out of it. But I was pretty much on the limit of what we had going there. And we end up, 15th on time, which is pretty good. We were pretty happy with that. But after all the penalties, we're starting 11th. So that's huge for us. And both my teammates had really struggled more than me. And so, the fact that we got to qualify well and out-qualify my teammates, I love working with Christian and Graham. I'll talk more about that. But, Ben, I want to get you involved here too. I don't know how much you paid attention to it, but obviously the rain, the craziness, did you, like, when you saw the grid definitely looked a little jumbled, right? There were some people a little bit further down than we would have expected. And then you had the grid penalties, and then you had folks kind of all over the map. You even had guys like Santino Ferrucci, who had a big first lap and then almost ended up in the wall lap 2, just showing how much people are on the limit during that qualifying. Did you see anything there that was like, hey, this is going to be an exciting race for everyone? Because I think it kind of led to that.
Racing season is well underway, and it's time to go full throttle. Feel the excitement of every lap like never before with DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly, no matter what goes down on the track.
Be sure to tune in to Dirty Mo Dough to keep up with all the betting matchups through the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs starting in Darlington.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now with code SPEEDSTREET. New customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code SPEEDSTREET, only on DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yeah, it was interesting seeing, like, knowing there were going to be those penalties going into the race and even qualifying, and Scotty Mack getting the pole, and like he had speed,
Big
but
lap.
at the same time, it's like, okay, you're going to the back, but you're just trying to set the tone, and everybody's talking about Newgarden trying to sweep the ovals the rest of the year. So that was an interesting storyline to follow. And as soon as the race went, like you said, it was kind of jumbled up, and you saw a lot of comers and goers. Yeah, Santino's lap was super interesting qualifying. It seemed like there was something there with, he got told some changes and he ended up maybe not doing that, or it was vice versa. So he wanted to trust his instincts a little more. So that was super interesting. But I love IndyCar short oval racing. I always feel like it provides good drama, and I hope they add more. So I was thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're exactly right. I think what's interesting again about these Penske cars, and I talked to even Alex Palou, I talked to him this morning at the gym about it, or yesterday morning at the gym. They have something that, like, we're looking for tiny margins here. Like, you saw it with Santino a little bit. The cars are completely on the edge. If I'm trying to find an extra 10th, you're either, you find that extra 10th or you're in the wall, or you're almost in the wall. And when you have a big moment, at short ovals, you lose so much time, and it's an average of your 2 laps. So, one thing that I struggled with in practice was when we were doing qualifying simulations, the first lap that I did was often 0.3 slower than the second lap that I did. So, when we pulled it together for qualifying, thankfully I got that back to within about a 10th, both laps within about a 10th. But the Penske cars are able to go out there, and from us as drivers, we can kind of see when other drivers are struggling with certain handling characteristics. And my gosh, those Penske cars look pretty simple to drive, pretty fast. And I mean, we're hustling for 24.9, 24.8. And they're like, yep, we're going to do 24.5 right out the gate, 24.6. And that is just vastly impressive. I don't know what they have at the short ovals, but it is at another level compared to all the other teams right now. And, when they don't win, that's why they're so angry. Like, that's why you see Joseph probably wanting to, bury himself in a hole for a week, even though he's won so many races this year. But they expect the best all the time. So qualifying was very interesting. The grid penalties made it very, very interesting. Scott McLaughlin with the grid penalty obviously made it the best possible scenario he could have by getting on the pole. But going into the race, so I like giving people my perspective on things. And again, these are not meant to be, there's a lot of times people say that there's excuses being said. And look, these are not excuses that I say. I often try to just tell people the real things that happen. There are plenty of things that happen in races that, you can make your own opinion about. I'm only going to tell you what actually happened. And a lot of these things prevent you from doing the best job that you can. But we're rolling to green, coming up to the green flag. My left front brake rotor was on fire. I had not seen that before. We as drivers try to warm the inside of the tire very aggressively before the start with the brakes. And again, different car, different team. I kind of did my normal brake warming routine. They might have a bit of a different brake setup, bit of a different situation. I don't know. But these things are all very minute, right? So I personally, it was my fault. I set the brake on fire. I'm willing to accept that, but like, I didn't know that I was overheating the brakes. You know what I mean? So there was definitely an interesting situation there. And it also might have been a piece of rubber that got in there too. Sometimes when you get a piece of rubber in the brake calipers, that'll kind of light on fire as well if you get things, super hot. So I'm looking at a fire on the left front as we're coming to green, a little bit distracting. And then we do have an issue when I start accelerating. There's a lot of things that I can't truly be honest about, just for, just to respect everyone. But we had an issue coming to green, just small issue, but small issues on the start. puts you in a really, really vulnerable position. And so we got, sadly, we got aggressively taken advantage of in a not fun way on the start. And we were pretty much in recovery mode from then on.